Good afternoon, SIRPers. In this video today, we'll be discussing the incident management module. We'll be looking at the different views and the tabs and what we can do with this module. This video is a part of a larger series which specifically discusses SIRP's nitty-gritty feature sets. This video is meant to allow you to have knowledge of the different features SIRP has. We have another video series which we'll be doing in parallel, which focuses more on different use cases you can implement through SIRP. So that series in turn is focused on allowing you to utilize and implement SIRP in your environment as quickly as possible for most common use cases. So let's get started. So SIRP has three different modules: incident management, threat intelligence, and vulnerability management. Today, we're talking about specifically incident management and the different tabs and buttons and features that it has. So in this video, we'll be first covering the incident table view. We'll be looking at the different buttons and the functions inside the incident table view. And in the second section, we'll be looking at the alert view. The alert view is of, when any alert or incident is fully open. We'll be discussing what the raw payload is, how is the MITRE attack framework mapped to different alerts in SIRP, what goes into analysis summary, what's the timeline like, artifacts, affected assets, and remediation. We'll be discussing the comments section, the tasks, the tree graph, playbook logs, and SLA logs in SIRP. We'll be looking at how we specifically execute playbooks, send emails to different customers in SIRP. How do we export alerts in the form of PDFs? How can we edit the alerts? Back in the incident view, we'll be looking at how we execute bug actions and how we can arrange our incident table view with different columns and filters. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is my incident management module. In incident management, as I discussed in my earlier video, you have three tabs. You have the alert tab, the investigation tab, and the incident tab. So the purpose of the alert tab is to aggregate new alerts. You move those alerts into investigation, which you're doing any sort of forensics or looking for some sort of clarifications or doing any sort of analysis on. Anything that has been confirmed as an incident of concern will be moved to the incident tab. The alert investigation incident tab revolves around a alerts incident lifecycle. That being said, let's look at the incident table. This is where all of your alerts are aggregated. We can click on any one alert, and then we'll look at what the view contains. So first and foremost, I think I'll take a pause here. Pause kar lo. So I have here open a investigation about a suspicious file detected on an endpoint. We'll look at the different sections of the alert to understand what is happening. This metadata view over here tells you when the alert was created. This is the unique identifier of the alert, the master ID of the alert. This section shows who's been assigned the alert. This here tells you where the alert came from. So the source could be a SIM solution or EDR solution. In this case, the source is QRadar. This counter or time breakdown here basically tells you how long this ticket has stayed in the alert tab, how long it has stayed in the investigation tab, and how long it has stayed in the incident tab. These metrics right here are used later on in your KPI dashboards to calculate MTTD, mean time to detect, and MTTR, mean time to resolve, for different alerts that you have. In this section here, you have the MITRE tactics, techniques, and sub-techniques mapped to the alert. Normally, this information is directly coming from the SIEM. We just map it when we're doing our field mapping in SIRP. This was covered in an earlier video. This description section has a brief description of what's occurring inside the alert. What is most important here is the raw payload. So I'm just going to magnify here a little bit, but the raw payload is the most important part of the alert. It shows analysts a lot of detailed information about the alert. And secondly, this raw payload can also be used to create different kinds of automations. We'll be discussing that further in our use cases series separately. So we'll get more into that later on. I'm going to now bring it back to 80% magnification, and we can discuss further on. This section here is the beautified payload, beautified version of the payload. Over here, you have the analysis summary. Analysis summary is where the analyst will write exactly what working they've done on the alert, a bit of an elaboration or an expansion of their analysis. The evidence section here, you can add different kinds of evidence, or you can even add screenshots over here if you want. Now let's move to the timeline section. So if there's been any sort of action taken inside an alert, the timeline section logs that action. So when this alert was opened, when this alert was updated, when this alert was moved into the investigation tab. All of that is visible here. The timeline section also has a log view. This log view tells you all of the actions David Miller has taken on this alert so far. Next up, let's look at the artifacts section. So the artifacts section contains mainly the indicators of the alert, but I also want you to think of artifacts as inbooks for your automation. What I mean by that is if there's an IP, you can choose to block that IP, or you can choose to check its reputation somewhere. If it's a file, you can choose to send it to a sandbox. If it's an IP, you can choose to check its reputation on VirusTotal. There are different actions that you can perform on your artifacts. As I said before, artifacts are normally inputs for your automation. Like for example, here I am blocking this IP on Fortinet firewall. Next up, you have the affected assets section. So if there are any sort of alerts which are tagged inside of your assets, if there are any sort of assets which are tagged inside the alert, if the alert contains any sort of IP or domain, all of that gets tagged in your affected assets. Additionally, you can also choose to manually add other assets as well, if after analysis and analyst thinks it's pertinent to the alert. In the remediation section, you normally add or talk about next steps. What kind of remediation should be performed against the alert, what kind of remediation has been performed, what are the lessons learned, and what is the containment status of the different assets that have been affected by the alert. After that, we have the comment section. The purpose of the comment section is for analysts to collaborate with each other. So the end user of SIRP is actually SOC analysts, and because SOC analysts are monitoring 24 hours, they work in shifts. So say one analyst needs to leave another analyst a message, and he also wants to tag them. So I can just leave this comment for the next analyst, and once the next analyst logs into SIRP, he'll find a notification here if he's been tagged anywhere. Additionally, there are 3 different types of comments that we can do. We can either choose to have our comments set to public. That means everybody can see our comments. If they're internal, that means only people who are either assigned to the alert or are members of the alert can only view this comment, or they can do a private comment. A private comment is normally done one-to-one. So I could leave a private comment here, and only the pertinent person will have this comment visible on their side. When you're adding comments, you can also add screenshots or upload files into the comments as well as part of your evidence. In the task section, if you can choose to ask the AI to generate different tasks for you based on what kind of alert you have. And then you can choose to add all of these tasks to your alert. Once you've added these tasks to your alert, you can also choose to assign it to a particular analyst to complete. So task section is basically anything that you do once you've ingested an alert. It's kind of like a checklist to make sure that this alert has been handled properly. Next up, you have the tree graph section. In the tree graph section, you see SIRP's correlation abilities. So this tree graph section tells you that investigation 2 containing the following hostname may also be part of another incident in this situation. If I click on it, it'll also open the incident for me. This section here is the playbook log section. It basically tells you which playbooks have been executed against this alert. This is the SLA log section. The SLA log section basically tells you which SLA is currently effective on this alert. The reason why this is blank is because currently we haven't configured an SLA. Lastly, you have the linked alert section, which basically tells you if any alerts have been linked to the primary alert as children. We'll be discussing automated linking and manual linking in a separate video that'll come under our use cases. Let's talk about assigned to. So the person who is assigned the alert primarily is the person who's dealing with the alert, but you may have to add other people to collaborate with your alert. So that's where the concept of members comes in. You can choose to add different people to be your members as well inside the alert. So they'll have visibility of the alert in addition to the person who's been assigned the alert. That being said, if SIRP security score has been configured, it'll start populating here. In this case, we haven't configured the score yet. That's why it's set to 0. In this section here, you can choose to place this alert in a different disposition. So you can choose to let it remain in the alert disposition. It's currently in investigation right now, or you can choose to move it to the incident tab, like so. Next up, let's look at the uh, let's look at how we're going to be executing playbooks inside the alert. So if I want, I can choose to execute this playbook like so. Once this playbook is executed, the playbook log becomes visible here. Currently, this tells me that this playbook is in progress, and this is the type of playbook that I'm executing, which is basically getting which is basically enriching the alert itself. Lastly, let's talk about the buttons that are on top of the alert. So in this section here, I can choose to send this I can choose to send this uh, alert to someone else, and I can tag them, or okay, so in this section here, I can choose to send this alert as an email to someone. I can choose to make the alert as a PDF attachment, or I can send it as an inline email. Lastly, I can just notify them and not send them the alert in the email body at all. So I can just select a user, or I can just think about sending it to a external user as well. And once I hit send, those I can also choose to export the alert in the form of a PDF, like so. Lastly, let's talk about the incident view. In the incident view, you can choose to sort your alerts in different ways. You can choose to uh, apply different filters to the alerts and choose different dates by which you want to arrange them. You can also choose which columns you want as part of your alert. Start date, close date, severity. So you can choose to sort the alerts out in different ways. In the upper section here, it also shows you a graph of how many alerts were received at each day here. I've not been ingesting a lot of data in here, so currently it's showing a very limited graph here. Lastly, you have the generate report section where we can generate built-in and legacy reports about the alerts. In the bulk section here, you can choose to bulk delete the alerts. So you can check all of these and then choose to bulk delete the alerts. If you want to bulk execute a playbook against multiple alerts, you can do that as well. Lastly, if you want to bulk edit certain sections of the alert, you can choose to do it through the bulk update section. And from the bulk update section, you can add different values to the fields inside the alert itself. Lastly, we have the linking features. So you can choose to link these alerts to an existing alert that you already may have. So they'll form a parent-child relationship, or you can choose to link them to an entirely new parent. We'll be covering alert linking in detail in a separate video. Let's talk about the edit form inside the alert. So the alert view has a very limited view of all of the number of fields that are available inside an alert form. As you can see here, the edit form here has a lot of details about the alert. There are a lot of fields that you can choose to add information into. All of these fields are not mandatory, and neither is the view of these fields more mandatory. Some SOCs prefer to have a minimum number of fields, and you can configure that in the administration section. So in this case here, you can you can edit different values inside the fields. You can choose to change artifacts, IPs, which are part of your evidences. You can choose to add screenshots. You can choose to add multiple groups and members to the alert itself, and then you can quickly update the alert here. So that pretty much wraps up my video about the incident management module. I'm specifically not discussing each feature. I'm just merely covering every little tab here so that it allows you to navigate the platform. We'll be discussing individual use cases, how we can implement SIRP in different ways, or the most common use cases that we implement through SIRP in a separate series, which is going to be coming out in parallel. So in the meantime, pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.